Hello everyone. Today we are going to see end-to-end relationship. So in Dynamic CRM, we have a different types of relationship. One is to n is to one, and n is to n. So while creating the n is to n, we are creating the n is to n relationship. Then in that background, automatically there is a one intersect entity is created. But if you wanted to see that intersect entity, you must have access to SQL Server, and you have to write SQL Server query, and you need to see that lookup in both of that entity. So now I'm going to tell you one more thing. If you're creating one of that end-to-end relationship, there you can't able to add that one or not even a single entity on that. But if you're creating one is to n is to one, while mapping that field, you can able to add that field. But n is to n, it is not like that. You will not able to add any field on that. Now I'll just tell you the one scenario so that we are used end-to-end relationship for dissociation record. We are removing that record, and but removable record, we are taking that specific field, and we are going to update that field into the same form. I'll just tell you the scenario. So there is a one entity, that name is entity B. Now we take one more entity. That entity name is entity A. So entity A I made as a subgrid for on the form of entity B. Now, while removing this entity, we are going to take this the lookup. So if you are open this entity A record, this is the lookup. We are going to take this one, this value, like if you go, it is the different entity. We are going to take this entity, and once we take this is that like a label name, like we can call that lookup name, visiting 0102. So based on this name, we are going to this a different tab, visiting type. If it is that removable, like we have already removed that record, so based on that visiting type, we made as a one tab, and that we made as a one label as a visiting 01, 02, 03, and mark and made as a one option set value. If you are removing one of that value, like if we are removing visiting three types, so it will take that and it will go for the visiting type, and it will make as a applicable. This means it is a removable one. So for that reason, we are going to use the dissociation here, and we write one of the plugins into that. So if you think like why we go for plugins, why should not we write any power automate, any other things? So if you're going to the right power automate, yeah, it is the exactly right to choose the power automate. But the thing is like from starting itself, you will get confused. What would be your trigger point here? Because in the power automate, if you go, if you can see there is only three options to trigger the point, and there is no any specific trigger point you will get in the power automate. But in the plugins, we have a trigger point, like we just write that message dissociate one, and we need to know, we no need to select any primary and secondary. I'll just show you why should we go for the plugins, why should not go for the power automate. I'll just show you that as well. So now you can understand, like once we are removing one of that entity from the entity B, we are removing one of the entity record of the entity A records, then it is going to update based on their visiting type. In visiting type is nothing but it is that lookup field. Now this is the related entity, these are the, and this is the target entity. I'll just show you that creating the Visual Studio code. I'm going to open Visual Studio. I'm going to create one of the new project for you. I'm creating the new pure project. Now the project name is something. I'll just put that project name something. Now trial dissociation of entity. Dissociation. Now I have given the dissociation of record entity A. Now, once we are creating that record, once we are create that project, we are going to take that NuGet package. NuGet package, we are going to install before the writing the plugins, because while we are implementing plugins, it must take that one of the directories of the related one. So we need to go and we need in the browser, we need to write Microsoft SRM.SDK. Then we have to select that Microsoft CRM SDK.core assembly. We need to install this one. So yeah, once we install this a new updated one, NuGet package updated one, we accepted that. Now you can able to see, now it is installing all that reference. Now that reference we need to write. Now it's already finished. Now it's already installed. So finished. So already installed. We'll go for the class. We need to implement class as a plugins. Now that plugins must be implemented. And first take that directory's name. Now we specify directory name. Now plugins must implement one of that method, whatever the method containing. Now it is containing one method. plugins contain only one method. That method name called execute method. Now implement it. Now execute method takes the service provider as a service provider as a input. Now that input parameters contains three things: plugins execution context, tracing service, and service provider. Now we are going to take that execution context, plugins execution context. Now we are going to write plugins execution context, plugins context, service provider dot get service type of plugins execution context. So now it is also cascaded as a plugins execution context. Microsoft already exists in the project. Okay. So now we are going to take now one thing is already defined here. Now the second thing is we need to remove all these things. Now let's push forward. Then first thing, now second things, tracing execution trends. tracing service, tracing name, give the variable service, tracing service equals to service provider dot get service type of tracing service. Now it is also cascaded as a tracing one. Tracing service. That's fine. Now tracing service is already done. Now we left one service factory. So organization service factory. Service factory equals to. Now we need to get service provider dot get service type of service provider type of is nothing but organization service factory. That is the one, and we need to cascade it. Organization. service. Service. Now exactly, it's everything is done. Now again, we must have to write that service one. We need to take as a service one this one. Now this I organization service one. I organization service equal to service equals to service factory dot create organization service, and it is the context dot user, which user context is going to trigger our plugins. Now it's fine. Now everything is fine. Now we are going to write everything under the try and catch. Now we are going to write try catch. Now this is the standard way we have to do all these things. Now once we perform, now the coding will start from here. Now first we have to define some of that field, like let's assume like we are going to take that target entity. So here target is nothing but entity T. So target entity. So target entity now we are defined, and target entity like entity reference. Entity reference. Now we have defined target entity, the entity we have defined. Now we are going to take one more things like related entity. So related entity is nothing but our this one, while we are like related, all these things are related entity. So we are going to take that related entity. Entity equals to none. So it's nothing but entity reference. So related entity is nothing but our entity reference. Only two things we require: entity reference we require. Okay, then we have to define that entity A, like okay. So we have I'll just tell you that why we are defining all these things. Entity now yeah, these are the things we need to declare. We have already done that. Now we are going to write all these things. Now we need to select that if context dot input parameter dot contain what? Target and context dot input parameter dot contain two parameters, square brackets, target it. is entity reference. Entity reference. Why we have taken that entity? Because generally we use entity while we are selecting the primary and secondary entity, we are selecting entity only. But here we are not going to select any primary or secondary entity. We are just put as a none for this, like for dissociation of this one. So that is why we use entity reference here. Now we are going to take that reference value, and what else we can do? Now we are going to do, we have already taken that entity. Now that entity reference, whatever the target entity we are getting, we are storing into the target variable. Now context dot input parameter target as entity reference. So now we are storing one of that variable that we have already updated target entity we have defined. Now we have defined that one of the target entity. Now the target entity here will get what? Entity B. So entity B will get here. Now I'll just, once we are compiling this, we'll also show you that how we are defining all these things. Now after that we'll get that relationship, but relationship name we haven't defined that one. So for that we have to define the relationship name. So relationship name equal to string dot empty. These are things we have to define. We use that. Okay. So this is nothing else. This is string one. So now we have to take that. Now this operation only perform once we take that specific relationship. So how we get that relationship? Now we have to perform context dot input parameter dot contains relationship. So relationship. Now we'll perform, now we'll take that particular relationship. So now we'll get that relationship name. So which relationship name? So I'll just show you that relationship, like this relationship. Entity B or entity A is having this relationship. So we require this relationship. So this relationship will come here. So now we'll take that schema name, that one. So that context dot input parameter relationship. Context dot input relationship. Relationship. So relationship dot name. Things. Okay, then we need to cast it as a relationship, this one. Relationship. Relationship dot schema name. now we need to store this is the relationship name. So we'll take this one. There is any mismatch. Now you get that particular relationship name on which we are going to perform dissociation. Now, once we take that relationship name, now we need to define that relationship, whether it is matching or not. If so, now the relationship name equals to, not equals to, not equals to, if it is equals to, the not equals to will return. So equals to this one, equals to otherwise return. Okay, now we have taken everything. Now everything is done. Now we are going to perform one of that. Now we'll take that. Now everything is correct. Now we are going to define that related entity. So now we are taking that related entity one. So if context related entity entities which be under that double related entities and meter is entity reference collection, because related entity is person entity. Related entity collection means entity reference collection is entity reference collection. Then once we done this one, as entity reference collection. As deleted entity context dot input parameter dot contents dot related entity and context dot input parameter is entity reference collection. And there is anything mismatch here. Okay. Now it's fine. Entity reference collection. Now we need to perform. We need to take that first related entity one. So that first entity related we will take. Before that, first we need to perform that operation. So that operation is entity reference collection. We'll take that one specific entity column from there. Now I'll just tell you how we'll do that. So we'll go for that entity collection one. So entity reference collection. So entity collection one. Related entity, related find that entity S2. Now we need to take the context dot input parameter dot input parameters. Then we need to take the related entities. So yeah, then perform that. Reference collection. Now, perform in the related entity, we are going to define the related entity of first value. Now we'll take that first related entity. Now on the related thread, because once we take that related entity called, so let's see here we are going to remove this one. Once we have removed this one, so under this one we are going to take this lookup one. So that lookup value we need to specify, then we'll go for the specific entity one, and then we need to take that name from there. So now once we take that one, now we need to perform some of the operation, update operation we need to perform. So now we are going to define that now there is the entity. So now target entity we need to define that. Entity B equals to entity B, we are going to define retrieve one and retrieve which one? Target entity was with the target entity logical name target entity dot ID, because whatever things it is defined we need to take target entity dot ID. Now once we target entity, and we need to select that all that columns or that field of the target entity. So new, so column set we need to make as a true. Column set so column set true. Now everything is perfect. Entity.id we are storing, and we are taking entity column set 2. So these okay, we need to implement it, I think. Yeah, we need to specify these directories as well, then it will be show us for us. Now we make as a column set as a true, and it will take that all that value. Now once we select that target entity, now we are taking that related entity. Now related entity is nothing but entity A. Now we are going to entity A equals to service dot retrieve related entity dot logical name comma related entity dot new column set. Now, inside that, in the related entity, what all things we require? So, whatever things we require, we can take that one. See, so in that one, we will go for the related entity. So, in that related entity, what we require? We require related entity ID or this column lookup in one. So, this one we require. So, now we'll go for that particular field one. In the field, we need to specify, we need to take that one. So that field we need to go and we need to define that. So it is already open one. We need to go and we need to take that one. So it is that. So a schema name for that new entity. So like schema name of new entity ID. So new entity ID schema name we need to take. So in that, whatever the field we require, we need to take that one. So entity A. So entity A, whatever field we require, we'll go for that entity and entity A, and that entity A field we require that ID, and that ID plus that a specific column we require for that, like lookup field, that schema name we require that. So we'll take that one. So that is that ID. So that new ID one, which is a different one. So that one. This is the different one. Require that from that lookup itself will get come to that entity. So if we open this one, then we use that label F1, and that label F1 we have a logical name for this entity. So we'll take this one. So now once we take that one, these two fields we require. Now we have done that. Now we have the like entity B, like we have a target entity, we have a related entity. Now we need to perform that operation. Now operation is like that dissociation. If context dot message name dot do what will make us do that equals to dissociate. Dissociate. A not equals to null and entity A dot attributes dot contains what? That lookup ID. So sorry, that lookup name, schema name. Which schema name? This one. This new lookup is this schema name. Like entity A field containing this lookup one. Now we define this one. Now once we define, again, if it is like that one, then now we take that one, that particular specific entity one records, we already take that. Now we'll match that record. So how will match that record? If entity entity A dot get attribute that is the lookup one. So entity reference, entity reference, entity reference. Then once we take that entity reference, then entity reference schema name, entity reference one schema name schema name dot name equals to that name. We are going to take that. The name is nothing but this one. Which types of this one? This is the different entity. We need to take this one. I need to perform visiting one. We have. Is it match that one? Once it is matched, then we are going to update that field into the entity B. So how we are going to update entity? So entity B will take that, and schema name for that equals to option set value. That is the value we need to take. So what is the value we need to take and we need to define? So entity B. So we'll pack that. So that is the visiting type. So this is the entity. We'll go to the logical name. So logical name for one. So new visiting one. Visiting one with the option set. So for option set, we'll get the level up, and we have option set, new option set value. So is applicable is this one. So we'll take that one and we'll make it as this one. Now same thing we'll do for the rest of the three one. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll copy this one. Control C. Control E. Else if. So now it is the visiting 2, visiting 3. These are the one same 1, 2, 3, and look up visiting. Yeah. So here visiting 2, visiting 3. Now all are set here. Now all are set. Now we have set that based on the visiting 1, visiting 2, visiting 2, it is going to update all these things. Now once everything is done, then we need to do that service.update. Now service.update, after this one we'll write service.update which entity? Entity B. Entity B. Okay. So now nothing has happened. Now we need to debug this one. Sorry, we need to clean the solution. Once we clean succeeded, we need to sign in. Sign in means like we are going to define the specific entity reference, so that will identify this is the my code. Now build, we are going to properties. We'll go for this one. We'll go for then properties. Now we have a sign-in option. We'll take this sign-in option. We'll create one of that new one. So new one we are going to create, define some random name. No need to protect. Sign-in is done. Now we'll go, we build the solution. Now build is succeeded. Now once the build is succeeded, now we'll go for the plugins tools, plugins execution, plugins registration. Plugins, open it. Now once we do this one, now we'll create the new connection. So I have already defined this is the my trial one, just working this one. So I'm logging into that plugins registration tools. Now, once we done that, then we're going to register the new assembly. Now we are going to that, we'll take that dissociate of the record. So this is not mine one. So we'll go for the repo one. Dissociate of record entity one. This one we need to select. We need to take the DLL for that. Now we'll take the DLL. Now load the assembly. Once we load that, tab, enter, because I am not able to see that OK button. So that is why now one assembly registered. Now we need to go and we need to register the step as well. So for the registering the step, we must go under that our specific registered one. So here our specific registration one, just click here, just right click and register the new step. Then message name is dissociate one. So dissociate one. So as I told you earlier as well, so we need to define none here, and we need to take the pre-operation one. So we are going to update that value. Now register that. Now once we register, now we'll move back to our CRM UI. On the CRM UI, we have an entity P. Let's refresh it. Now we are going to remove one of the record. So basically we are going to make this one as a save one. So earlier we are going to like make everything like as usual. Now we are going to remove to one of that entity. So now at existing we have a different entity we are going to add. So now once we add all those records, now we have a 3 records busy, and this is the visiting 01, 02, 03. Now there's a visiting nothing. Now here we are not able to like see any records is already there. We just go to that entity one and we are going to remove one of the record of entity one. We are going to remove it. Now once we removed, now it's already removed from here. Now we'll go for the visiting type. And because we are going to update that visiting one, so like we have removed visiting one, we just need to refresh it. We'll go for the visiting types now, which is applicable. Now again we are going to remove visiting type 3, and the visiting type 3 doesn't have anything value present. So we are going to remove once we remove this one. Now that value will be updated over there. Now it's already removed. Once we come here, once we just refresh it. Now we go to, now it's make as an applicant. So now these are the things, N is to N relationship. So that one we have written that one of the plugins based on that. So thank you so much for watching this video. Now, like if you wanted to remove one of the more things, so now it will be applicable here. Now, these are the things. For more videos, you can visit my channel. And for interview preparation, like if you have a more than 2 years of experience or you are just beginning in the CRM, so in the description, I have given one of the blog, so in which we have written many questions for the interview related, and which I have faced that all that question and my friend also. So I have include mix everything and I put into the one blog. So you can visit and you can find the link under the description. Thank you so much for watching this video.